Hello students, in this video I am going to discuss the questions from the subject Design of Reinforced Concrete Structures which were asked in MES 2018. Now the question number 1, what are the different limit states of design as per IS 456 2000? Now the four options are given: limit state of failure, limit state of damage, limit state of collapse, limit state of serviceability. Now we know that as per IS 456 2000, the design is made by using these two limit states, limit state of collapse and limit state of serviceability. And that is why C and D are correct. Option 3 is the correct option. Question number 2. Maximum shear force for three equal spans of beam oblique slab occur at, and the four options are given. In order to have the correct answer for this question, we'll have to refer table number 13 in IS 456 2000. Now this table gives us the values of shear force coefficients. Now I have drawn a three span beam over here. All the spans say are equal. Now this support is the end support. It is also the end support, and these two supports can be called as the support next to end support. So it is a support next to end support. It is also a support next to end support. Now here the values of shear force coefficients are given. Now this upper row or the first row gives us the values of shear force coefficients for dead load, whereas dead load and imposed load which are fixed. Now the second row gives us the values of the shear force coefficients for imposed load. Now at the end support the coefficients are 0.4 and 0.45, so which I have written them over here. So it is the end support, the coefficients are 0.4 and 0.45 respectively for these two different types of load combinations. Now here also it is a end support, so the two coefficients have been written over here. Now outer side of the support next to end support, so this side where 0.6 these two values are written, so these two values, it is the outer side of the support next to end support. Similarly, it is the support next to end support, and the side to the right becomes the outer side of this support. So here the coefficients are 0.6 each, whereas at the inner side the coefficients are 0.55 and 0.6. So it is the support next to the end support. It becomes the inner side, means the side to the right of this support is the inner side, 0.55, 0.6. This is also the inner side because it is the support next to the end support, and the side to the left of this is the inner side. So this is 0.55 and 0.6 are the coefficients. If we compare all these coefficients, we can see that coefficients for this side and coefficients for this side, which are actually the outer sides of the support next to the end support, these coefficients are more, as such the shear force will be more, and that is why the option number 3, that is the shear force on the outer side of the support next to the end support, will have the maximum values. Next question. In the design of slab, the diameter of reinforcing bars shall not exceed. Now to have the correct answer for this question, we will have to again refer IS 456. Clause number 26.5.2.2, maximum diameter. The diameter of reinforcing bars shall not exceed 1/8 of the total thickness of the slab, and that is why the correct option is option number 1. Next question. Determine the slab area of which the load is acting on supporting beams A and B. Now they have given this slab. The dimensions are 5.5 meter by 4 meter. Now we'll have to check whether this slab is one-way slab or two-way slab first. So Ly is 5.5 and Lx is 4. 5.5 divided by 4, which is going to be less than 2. As such, the slab will be a two-way slab. And if it is a two-way slab, we will have to adopt this procedure as per clause number 24.5 in IS 456. Now, as per the clause 24.5, if it is a rectangular two-way slab, then the supporting beams are going to carry the loads like this. Now from each corner we will have to erect a line inclined at 45 degrees. So this is the first line which I have erected from this corner 45 degrees. Erect a line from this corner also at 45 degrees. Erect a line inclined at 45 degrees from this corner, and the fourth one from this corner. So then we will have to join these 2 points also. So this beam, which I am going to call it as short beam, and this is the long beam. So this beam will be sharing the load from this triangular area, whereas the long beam is going to share the load from this trapezoidal area. Now here we are asked to get the loads from both of the for both of these beams. So I am going to calculate the area of this triangle so that we can have the answer for the asked question. So area can be obtained like this. For beam A, the area is the triangular area, 1/2 base is 4 meter, and this height is also going to be this height is going to be 2 meter, because this angle is 45 degrees. As such, it will also be 45 degrees. It is the half of the total, which is 2 meter, and that is why it is also 2 meter. So 1/2 base is 4, this base is 4, height is 2, so 1/2 base into height gives the area of this triangle, which is 4 meter square, whereas the area of this trapezoidal is sum of parallel sides. So these two parallel sides are there. One is 5.5 meter long, whereas this is 2 meter from, or it is the height of this triangle, which is 2 meter. It is also 2 meter. So if we deduct 2 plus 2 from 5.5, the remaining side becomes 1.5 meter. So sum of parallel sides is 5.5 plus 1.5 divided by 2 into the height of this trapezium, which is equal to 2. So the area works out to be 7 meters square, and that is why the correct option is option number 4. Next question. A T-beam behaves as a rectangular beam of width equal to its flange if its neutral axis. Now the answer is simple, remains within the flange, because when the neutral axis is within the flange, the area of the section which is above the neutral axis will be resisting compression, and it will behave as a rectangular beam, or the T beam will behave as a rectangular beam, and that is why the correct option is option 1. Next question. According to IS 456, two-way slabs with corners held down are assumed to be divided in each direction into middle strips and edge strips such that the width of middle strip is. Now to have the correct answer, again we will have to refer IS 456. Annex D, IS 456 2000. Now D 1.2. Slabs are considered as divided in each direction into middle strips and edge strips as shown in figure 25. So this is the figure number 25. The middle strip being 3/4 of the width and each edge strip 1/8 of the width. So this is the LY direction. Middle strip, its length is 3/4 times LY. This is LX direction. Middle strip is 3/4 times LX. So correct answer for this question is option number 3. Next question. Span effective depth ratio for cantilever for span up to 10 meter is. Now again, to have the correct answer, we will have to refer IS 456, and we will have to go for control of deflection. Basic values of span to effective depth ratios for spans up to 10 meter are: cantilever, the ratio should be 7, simply supported beam it is 20, and continuous it is 26. So the correct option for this question is option number 1. Next question. Effective length of compression member which is effectively held in position and restrained against rotation at both ends is. Now the 4 options are given. Again, to have the effective length of compression members, we will have to go to IS 456. Table number 28. Effective length of compression members. Now here the end conditions are given. The column is represented symbolically over here. Theoretical value of effective length and recommended value of effective length. Now here in this question, the end conditions given are effectively held in position and restrained against rotation at both ends. Then the theoretical value of effective length is considered as 0.5 L, whereas recommended value of effective length is 0.65 L. So option 1 is the correct option in this case. Question: if H is the total height of the building under transient wind load and lateral sway at the top should not exceed. Now the four values are given. Again, to have the correct answer, let us go to IS 456. Clause 20.5 lateral sway. Under transient wind load and lateral sway at the top should not exceed h by 500, where h is the total height of the building. So the correct option is option number 4. Next question: an axially loaded column is 300 by 300 mm in size. Effective length of column is 3 meter. What is the minimum eccentricity of the axial load for column? And the four options are given. Now let us go to IS 456 2000. Clause number 25.4 minimum eccentricity. All columns shall be designed for minimum eccentricity equal to the unsupported length of column divided by 500 plus lateral dimensions divided by 30, subject to a minimum of 20 mm. Now here, if we work out L by 500 plus D by 30, it works out to be 16. But they are saying that the minimum eccentricity should be 20 mm, and that is why the correct option for this question is option number 1. Next question: in reinforced and plain concrete footings on soils, the thickness at the edge shall not be less than. The four options are given. Let us go to the IS 456. Clause 34.1.2 thickness at the edge of footing. In reinforced and plain concrete footings, the thickness at the edge shall be not less than 150 mm for footings on soils, and that is why the correct option for this question is option number 2. Next question: the maximum permissible final deflection of a beam should not exceed. The four options are given. Now let us again go to IS 456. Now clause number 23.2 control of deflection, B part of it. The deflection including the effects of temperature creep and shrinkage occurring after erection of partitions and the application of finishes should not normally exceed span divided by 350, and that is why the correct option is option number 1.